Alright, boys. Max Richter, introduced to me by Potter. Not a bad little composer. Everyone knows that DCR. DRCDP. Yeah, so, look, I'm recovered from Friday's little shenanigans. We decided to be in the market again, looking for opportunities, trying to put that past. Yeah, I mean, look, you're gonna get losses, you're gonna have crazy stuff happen. Sometimes it's gonna be in your favor. Yeah, sometimes it's gonna be, against you. But that goes with the market, right? That's the sort of thing that happens. And if you're gonna play this game for the rest of your life, you're gonna see a lot more mad things happen, especially if you jump out of FX and into stocks and bonds. There's going to be some big moves percentage wise, right, on the day. So the pound, it's still recovering a little. It's shaking out some of that fear. I suspect we're going to test 125 at some point, mainly because I don't know who wants to sell this low. I mean, just let it have a bounce and then fade that rally. That to me makes more sense than straight up selling, chasing this lower at this point. But either way, right, I'm not trading unless I'm getting a good level. So buying wise, I'm not really looking to buy. I may be tempted towards 120, You know, that sounds crazy, 400 pips away. But I may be tempted towards 120, but I don't mind selling this sort of pop a bit above 125, 125.50. Depends what the reason is, right? You know, if there's some sort of progress comment or compromise comment come from the UK, then it could be worth more than 100 points. If it's just a little bit of optimism saying, you know, whatever it is, right? The market latches onto it and has a little short squeeze. It could do it without a comment. It could just short squeeze without a comment. But I'm more interested in fading that sort of rally than selling another slump. So selling another rally than buying another slump, or looking to, you know, play in the between here, right smack bang in the middle, like right now. You know, which way you want to go. You can flip a coin. Trump versus Clinton again today. Trump did a little bit better, but still by no means, to me anyway, scored a victory. So I suspect risk is going to remain on. That Goldilocks number from the non-farms on Friday really allows risk to remain on. There's no firm commitment that they're going to raise rates. Only thing left really to focus on is that, you know, oil's strong and ECB's denying the taper talk, which is another reason to be long, say, the DAX, or just long risk in general. I don't mind buying the dollar yen and the euro yen on that sort of recovery. Pound yen is obviously too dangerous. Aussie yen is another potential. NCAD yen is another potential that we can look at there. The way we had been playing on Friday was to sort of fade US dollar strength, US dollar weakness. Worked out a little bit. Yeah, so we were selling the Aussie rally, and so you would have got, say, 30, 40 points on that trade. Kiwi was a little less, you know, a little bit more volatile, but a little less, a little harder to trade. Yeah. I was a bit more scared of the Kiwi than the Aussie, just because the Aussie Kiwi was falling. But in the end, it's turned out okay. So closing out these two trades though, because that's sort of done, and now markets moving forward, I think it's easier for risk to come back on. And I'm not just chasing, say, the Kiwi lower here. I don't mind selling the Kiwi higher. Don't mind selling the Aussie higher. I just don't like these levels. It seems to be stable enough. And when they're stable and risk is on, grinding higher is normal. So I should probably close those. Actually, I closed them already today, earlier. So dollar yen long. Yeah, I mean, to me it seems a little reason to be short, but I've been pretty bullish on this for a long time, so I'm not the best one to have the objective view on that. But I suspect the bottom's in here on dollar yen for this time, unless we get another reason to be ultra risk off. I suspect we're going to test the 105, 107 area before we test the 100 again. So I'm trying to get a bit of that. And the non-farms, the softish number, lets us, well, not really that soft, but softish, allows us to buy that dip. And it's easy enough to put your stop, you know, 1 at 240, 1 at 260. I bought earlier, so I'm okay. Euro's not really doing anything. Pound's not really doing too much either. So really we're searching for trade ideas in this sort of environment. Long dollar yen, and the other trade we're still continuing with is long dollar Swiss. Now long dollar Swiss is a little bit more of a short euro trade, which is true. Okay, long dollar Swiss is a bit of a short euro trade. But you had S&P Jordan for the 100th time come out over the weekend saying that you can do more. I don't know. I like the Swiss to be sold here. I suspect pound Swiss, dollar yen would also get a boost in any sort of short covering rally from pound, right? So say there is this short covering rally in the pound Swiss and a short covering rally in the pound yen. That could lift the dollar Swiss and lift the dollar yen, but also very importantly, it could put some selling pressure onto the euro, because the euro pound is monstrously overbought, right? And you know, I mean, this could work the other way around too. The euro can get support from, so this whole trade is time based, right? But I do like the potential here for some little kickers to come through and help out. So by no means am I long dollar yen and long dollar Swiss just because of that. It's just it helps if there's also that pound squeeze, which will happen at some point, right? Like 15 days in 12 days in a row down. It's likely some comment comes out. I mean, even if it's nothing to do with it, right? The market just grab it and say, oh, you know, article says this, article says that. Basically, I feel like the market will just be looking for an excuse to short squeeze, and so you know it will find a way. And so I don't really want to play it directly. I've had enough pound exposure to last me a few years, but I do suspect it may come through. When it does, if I'm sleeping, dollar yen will be helped out, dollar Swiss will be helped out, euro will be hurt in that trade. A couple of people asked me about pound Kiwi today. Now, pound Kiwi. Now, the whole idea of this is that the Kiwi is pretty weak, and the RBNZ may cut rates, and any sort of pound squeeze is going to lead this to recover quite sharply. Look, the levels are good. The reasoning makes sense. The timing is very critical here, and by no means is it a safe trade, right? It's just sort of like traders being smart, trying to figure out a way to get long pounds safely. I don't know. I mean, pound and Kiwi together seems like the most dangerous combination. But I do understand where they're coming from, the long pound Kiwi trade. But November's still far away. I'm not sure if the Kiwi guys are focusing on that too much right now. But there's definitely still some appetite to be buying Aussie Kiwi. And you may notice that another trade that I got out of as well is a short Aussie CAD. Not really any conviction on that trade with that lack of follow through with the Canadian dollar. So CAD had all the reason in the world: strong oil, strong employment numbers, and it just couldn't kick on this trade. Now, maybe I should have held it longer. Maybe it's right to sell it now. Kiwi CAD and Aussie CAD short do make sense just on the crosses, in the commodity variance, but for some reason the last 3 or 4 days it's just been rallying, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't really play this pair too much, might get out. But yeah, we can see if that still develops. A lot of people still want to sell that stuff, so that could be a trade potential. Alright, so I haven't bought any dollar yen on this account yet. Let me get a little. Yeah, I'll probably get stopped out, but alright. Yeah, that's the way I'm seeing the market at the moment. Where'd that come from? Oh, Jesus. That's the line I drew weeks ago, right? Yeah, I don't mind dollar yen. I really, actually, that's probably my strongest conviction in the market right now. Floating profit and loss is looking good, Tony. Yeah, mate. Better than before. But that's because I cut a lot of those losses. I mean, still inside there is that big euro pound loss. So that's like a 5k euro pound loss I've got to get back. So yeah, Mexican trade's doing well. Let's have a little look on the Mexican actually. That Mexican trade's still got significant room to move. And there was some initial buoyancy during the debate, but they just sold into that. That's another very bearish sign. You know what we should do? We should probably add to this bad boy. You know, the only way to make money is to add to winning trades. Let's add another 0.25. So it is the opposite of what I was doing with the pound, adding to a losing trade. The Aussie attitude of she'll be right with the pound definitely did not help me. Should put a little sneaky in here. Okay, just a little sneaky in here, right? Just because I sort of don't mind it. Just a little sneaky. Big stops you need on this pair though. You into that trade too, Potter? That's excellent, man. It's not an easy trade because we don't trade it much, right? But it seems like it's going to be the fabulous trade post Clinton win. So you can just sort of factor that in. I don't see how she can lose. Unless something really crazy comes out in the WikiLeaks or something. Even then, right, compared to Trump, it's going to be relatively easy. It's not like Trump's ramping it down, he's ramping it up. He's like I don't think he knows how to backtrack, right? Just ramp up and see what happens. Yeah, Crude was speaking a lot today. Yeah, he's definitely going to delay. They have to delay, right? They have to delay the inflation target. I'm not sure how that comes across to the market. I'm not sure if that comes out as bullish. So bearish for the yen. Probably bearish for the yen, right? Because they have to keep on doing aggressive easing until they get the inflation target hit. So it sort of gives a little bit of certainty about how much longer you're going to have that easing. So yeah, no, it makes sense. Makes sense. Let's have a little look at some research, see what's the banks focusing on. Saw an interesting title earlier. I don't know if actually before we do that, we'll have a look at some of the trade ideas from the trading room. If you're at Forex Signal, if you're at YouTube watching this, come across to Forex Signal so you can ask questions. You can see there's 140 of us in there hanging out. Yeah, Trump's not subtle. Alright, there's been a couple of trades just... What's he done here? Short? Why? Can't see oil break higher than this in the week. It's time for short. I don't know, man. I don't want to tell oil what it can and can't do. Isn't there some sort of crazy meeting over in Russia at the moment? That could be in some of the reports. I read something about it and I'm just like, well, that's a bit odd. I think they're having a mini OPEC meeting over there. And obviously Russia's very important for this whole game. Yeah, look, it's obviously a nice level, but I don't like selling just because the market's completely overbought. Pound short at 127.50. Oh Jesus, the whole market would short at 127.50. How's it going to get to 127.50 without a good reason? And a reason that makes the bears scared. That's my question to you, Kadem. So, if it's just a brutal short squeeze, yeah. If there's no comments about it, yeah, I'll be selling up there. And pray to God that we don't get caught at 125.50 or 126 if the market continues to squeeze higher and higher. So yeah, I love that trade. It seems a bit ambitious though. But obviously very high probability at some point. Long. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, I can definitely get into this. Yeah, we're already in that trade. It's beautiful, Kadem. You get a little like for that. I think they're still doing the competition from IC markets. So there's $500 given away for the top 3 most liked trade ideas posters. Sure, gold. Gold's price action was pretty bullish post the collapse, right? that sort of pattern I don't like to sell. Yeah, I mean, it's like a little layout, right? Oh, well, we're just coming up just below the previous low, previous high. And this is where you should sell. This is a good selling level. Yeah, in theory, it is. And worked for the last long time, right? But we've had this big clean out. Haven't had the sort of sharp bounce. I'd like to sell a little bit higher, mate. A little bit higher. Where did you put in your sell level? You're straight into market, yeah. I think gold is rarely that easy. Gold is rarely that easy where you like, bang. It's come back up to previous highs, and that's where it's going to be the high. I would love it to be that high, that easy to trade gold, but if it was, we'd all be millionaires. Yeah, gold's notoriously hard. Pound yen long. Stash. Oh, it's a little aggressive. But yeah, obviously it can work out. Risk reward is... Are you long or short, mate? What do we got here? Looks like he is short. I think you put it in the wrong way, yeah? This is your stop loss and you should take profit? What type of sorcery is this? C trader. Alright, so you're long inside, and what's this other thing you got going? That's just something that the computer's drawn for you. Alright. Looks nice, doesn't it, C-Trader? I traded off a little bit. It's got some really fast trading tools in it. Perhaps it was one time it was going to be the contender to take over for MetaTrader. I'm not sure. Just sort of the hype died. Alright, so BOJ talked about tapering. ECB definitely talked about tapering. So yeah, the central banks are going to be really careful how they go about talking about ending QE. ECB in particular, but BOJ as well. I mean, no one really knows what Japan plans to do. Japan's in a worse position than anyone else, so... But, the yen has come back down from 120 to 100, right? There is room there. It's not like the euros rallied to 130 because ECB, seemed to be reached the maximum they can do when it had a big clean out rally. The yen's had its huge move forward. It's very sensitive to US yields. I mean, I can see the case here where dollar yen goes up. They make it very clear that they're not removing the punch bowl anytime soon, if not doubling down some way. But it is they do talk about scarcity for the Japanese bond market. The BOJ owns 30% of the or a third of the Japanese bonds, and a hell of a lot of the Nikkei too. They literally own the Nikkei. A lot of the companies, like 20% or something. Pretty important investor to be watching. And I think both of these central banks know if they talk about tapering, they're going to make the currencies surge. The US has made it pretty clear that they're very slow at raising rates. Unless inflation comes back in a big way, and perhaps with oil starting to rally and hold its rally, we're going to see inflation come through at some point. Next year could be very interesting for monetary policy. It's just right now the the potential shift to a hawkish stand from the ECB seems the most likely, or just more neutral stand, earlier than later, if the inflation comes back in. And whether the US can really accelerate its rate rises to be, one every 3 months next year, that has to be seen as well. If inflation comes back, I'm talking. And Japan will just love to have inflation, just generally. So don't. You can see how that plays out. Why don't I trade gold? Because I like to keep my money. Big respect to hands, right? Gold is super hard to trade, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, maybe it's too technical for me. You can trade gold with no leverage. Really? Is that the rules on over in US? So yeah, euros. Yeah, I was having a go at the downside. Remember it was getting pretty bearish there for a sec. Dollar yen's a little bit more interesting, a little bit more constructive. It's pretty important here that the bulls make the next leg higher. Then we can start to get really bullish. This is just turning point type stuff. That's why the risk reward in this trade is so good. If this is a turning point sort of trade, there's breakout, pullback, buy, and then it does turn and it rallies up, then this is risk reward. Risking 100 or 50 points to make 200 or 300 is exactly what you look for as a trader. Markets which are turning and then offering a pullback in that turn. So everyone else has got a daily, and then we go to a monthly chart for the pound. That's how you got to trade the pound, monthly, yeah? The case is, though, that the pound is going higher. I've only been trading for 8 years, 9 years, right? But I rarely see, and I've seen a fair few markets sell off and a fair few markets crash. Alright, I rarely see this sort of candle. You see this shit in dollar yen all the time. Obviously a smaller candle. Absolute level size, maybe a 300 pip one. But I rarely see after that a market which doesn't have a topside test before downside test. So you can just imagine, said daily it'll be clearer. I rarely see this kicking on. And it's not the same as Brexit, right, which had that lack of fear. This was a capitulation type move. And sometimes capitulation type moves puts the bottom in. You have to be real here for a sec. There is a chance that's the bottom. And obviously all the bankers and all the traders who are bearish say that no, it's got another 6 months to go. It's 2 or 3 comments from Prime Minister May away from a rally, a sustained rally. I mean, if there's optimism that things are going to be okay, it's like 130 at least. That's the beginning of the relief rally, the recovery rally. So I'm just saying that on a daily chart, if that was the low and we're back above 130 because yada yada yada, Boris Johnson says this, Germany says this, France, Holland says this, then it would look like a normal chart. That capitulation seems done. Let's see how it plays out though. Okay, I've seen too many charts with that sort of move where it's been the bottom. Let's have a look at, on that note, let's have a look at the Kiwi, when it happened in the Kiwi, to see if it helps our point or hurts our point. Happened in the Kiwi not too long ago. It does not help our point. I was off the cuff. Alright. So that day, there was a move all the way down, even a lot lower than that. That was like a 300, 400 point move. And it happened at the happened during Asian session. Alright, it was another one of those crazy moves. And I was just seeing if that was the bottom. Look, it wasn't too much lower than the bottom though, okay? Alright. Doesn't disprove my point completely, but it's not a very good example. Not a very good example at all. But what I'm just saying is that there is many charts where that will be the absolute bottom. The capitulation after the market extends like 15 days in a row low. Let's see what happens. Obviously sentiment's extremely bearish towards it right now, but you know, we'll see. More data needed. Alright, we could go look at some dollar yen capitulations. Dollar yen's a capitulation machine. I mean, just... yeah, helps a little bit. It's on a weekly, maybe the weekly will show a bit more. And it always sort of sets down a bottom end of the downside, right? Yeah, so perhaps 118 might be the bottom if it does roll over and kicks going down. Remember, the all-time low for this pair is 110. Well, I think obviously, you know, UK history's gone back a bit further than that, but 103. Sorry. What was going on in 1985? I don't know. I think it's okay to be a little bit bullish. It's just let's not buy until we get a reason. Get caught into something like that. That's a little bit of a sidetrack. I bet the dollar Swiss never went back towards its previous low. I really like dollar Swiss long, so we want to be watching this carefully. If we can break topside, I think Euro Swiss is going to be happy to move. Like if Euro starts to catch a bid, and or Pound Swiss starts to catch a bid, it just makes more sense that they leave the Swiss behind. I don't know. It's had many false attempts in the past though. Literally, I've been excited a few times here, and here for the potential breakout. I've always been buyer on the dips, not a sell on the rally, but there must be some sellers out there. So I can understand the bullish side. It's probably a little high to be buying if you're not bullish, expecting a move to 100, to one parity. Aussie's pretty hard. Aussie is pretty hard. Every time the market's been gathering momentum to the top side, we've been tapering at 77. I suspect we might test a little bit lower, lower 75-ish, 75.50 at least. I'm happy to buy dips. I'm not really happy to sell rallies in the current market. Kiwi, I don't mind selling rallies. I understand it a little bit more. But this is going to be, how many times have we got ultra bearish on the Kiwi and it come back to bite us as it just does its relentless yield based rally. And there is a significant chance the RBNZ does not cut rates. There is a significant chance. The underlying economic data is very strong, and if they could somehow get away with not doing it, then I think it would really help their case as a legitimate central bank. If they do give in and they cut, I think they could start a bubble over there that can't stop. So this is an interesting case here. I'm still very bullish on the Aussie Kiwi, and I do think they're going to cut, but let's just say it won't be the shock of the century if the RBNZ remains on hold. I think it's still pretty high chances, like 70% though at the moment. The dollar CAD is breaking our heart here. We're looking for CAD strength with oil, or at least CAD outperformance, and it's just not kicking for us on the Aussie Kiwi. So the Aussie Kiwi is proving a little harder to sell than we hoped. We were selling down here, remember, on this red candle? We were talking about 98 and stuff, and now it's just grinding back up there. So yeah, the crosses on the CAD makes a little bit more sense than anything else, but it's just surprisingly weak at the moment. Euro yen. If you're bullish dollar yen, you can play euro yen long too. Same sort of game. I think dollar yen's a little bit cleaner though. So dollar yen is the way I'm preferring it, the way I'm involved in it at the moment. Alright guys, that could be enough for today. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 GMT. We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on in the market. This here is FXWW. If you do like that room, like some of the bank reports, you can join up. It's around $70 a month, I believe. Plaza Accord. Plaza Accord. I was 2 years old. Wearing diapers, running around. Pound was making lows. Damn it, my 2-year-old will know about the Plaza Accord. And I would sit him, he'd be sitting down. Daddy, what are you doing? Daddy's watching charts, son. Daddy's watching charts. Come here. Have a look at this. This is Trump when he... this is when Trump said he's not going to pay back the US debt and that China can just can get away with it. This is what happened to the US dollar on that day, son. No, he knows what he would do, man. It'd be hilarious though if it happened. Alright guys, good luck. Trade safe. Not too much really happening tonight. US is away. I'm not sure if the stocks are open, but generally probably going to be a pretty quiet day. Risk on though, if anything, slightly.